This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit TemptationsTreats.com to learn more.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. A lot of you may have read over the weekend in the New York Post or any of the other publications that covered this that I've made a decision to run for office in New York City this year. That is indeed true. Yes, that is the same Frank Morano. A big part of this show is talking about what goes on in my life. I did want to let you know that this is not something I am going to be talking about on the radio, mostly because I have certain restrictions based on what the Campaign Finance Board allows and what the FCC allows. So I'm not going to be talking about it at all, really, on this program. If you want to know what's going on, you should absolutely follow me on social media. I also have a website, which if you type my name into Google, you will be able to find. Now, that is not the only race happening in New York City this year. It looks like New York City's Public Advocates race is about to get a lot more interesting. Assemblymember Jennifer Raj Kumar is reportedly set to challenge the incumbent, Jumaane Williams, for a position he's held since 2019. This move comes after Raj Kumar initially planned to run for controller, but is now shifting gears to take on Williams directly. For those who don't follow New York City politics too closely, the public advocate is supposed to be the city's official watchdog, a voice for the people to hold government accountable. But under Jumaane Williams, that role has often felt less like an advocate for all New Yorkers and more like a platform for far-left posturing. Williams, who's a great guy, a nice man, is a vocal critic of Mayor Eric Adams. He has coasted through past elections with little competition. That could change with Raj Kumar in the race. Let's be clear. Raj Kumar brings a very different style and set of priorities to the table. She's a centrist Democrat, an ally of Mayor Adams, and someone who's actually focused on problem solving rather than just being the loudest voice in the room. Whether you like Adams or not, there's something refreshing about a candidate who wants to roll up their sleeves and get things done. Williams, on the other hand, has become a symbol of a public advocate who's better at criticizing than delivering results. His popularity and name recognition may make him a tough opponent, but his tenure often feels more like a campaign for higher office than an effort to truly serve New Yorkers. Raj Kumar, who has over $275,000 in her campaign war chest, compared to Williams' $69,000, is coming into this race well-funded and ready to fight. And while her alignment with Mayor Adams could be seen as a liability, given the mayor's recent struggles, it's also an opportunity to offer a more balanced approach to leadership. We will see what happens. I think Raj Kumar would be far preferable to Jumaane Williams for this seat.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. When was the last time we saw a gubernatorial race in New Jersey this wide open? If you ask me, it's been a while. The latest Emerson College Pix 11 The Hill poll shows a Democratic primary field that's essentially up for grabs with no clear frontrunner. Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill leads by the narrowest of margins at just 10%, with Newark Mayor Ras Baraka, NJEA President Sean Spiller, Congressman Josh Gottheimer, and former Senate President Steve Sweeney all clustered close behind. On the Republican side, Jack Ciattarelli, the 2021 nominee, holds an early edge at 26%, but even there, the race is far from settled. To me, this is refreshing. For once, voters in both parties have a genuine opportunity to shape the future of their state. Too often, we see races where one or two candidates are anointed early, with everyone else treated as an afterthought. That's not the case here. The field is wide open, and that's how democracy is supposed to work. But while the poll numbers are interesting, let me offer a word of caution. Don't read too much into them. Polls this early in the race are a snapshot in time, not a crystal ball. Most voters haven't even begun to think seriously about who they'll support, and anything can happen between now and next June. Unfortunately, the media often puts far too much focus on these early numbers, creating a narrative that candidates at the top are the serious contenders while others are dismissed as long shots. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Candidates with early polling advantages get more attention, more donations, and more endorsements, which only cements their position. Meanwhile, potentially great candidates who start lower in the polls struggle to gain any traction. We've seen it happen time and again, but here's the truth. Early polls don't vote, people do. A lot of these candidates are still introducing themselves to voters. Their ideas, their vision, and their ability to connect with the public will matter far more than where they rank in a poll taken months before the primary. So as this race unfolds, I encourage everyone to keep an open mind. Don't let the polls or the pundits decide who's worth your consideration. Look at the candidates, listen to their platforms, and think about what's best for New Jersey. This is a rare moment when the field is truly open and the voters, not the pollsters, not the political bosses, will have the final say. Let's take advantage of it. I think this is a great thing for New Jersey and, quite frankly, a great thing for both the Democratic and Republican rank and file.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
As a pet owner myself and someone whose wife has occasionally had to take off work to care for our pets, actually more than occasionally, I completely understand the intent behind the proposed legislation that I'm about to tell you about. New York's City Council is considering a bill that would allow New Yorkers to use their existing paid sick leave to care for their pets or service animals. At first glance, this idea tugs at the heartstrings, and let's be honest, our pets are family members. Council member Sean Abreu, who sponsored the bill, argues that caring for pets promotes the health of both animals and their owners. He cites the mental health benefits of interacting with pets, lower stress, reduced loneliness, and even better blood pressure. And he makes a key point. No additional sick days are being proposed. You just have to draw down from the ones you already have. It's about flexibility, allowing people to use their already allocated time off as they see fit. Supporters of the bill, including advocates from animal shelters, say this could reduce pet surrenders and even encourage more adoptions, something desperately needed as shelters overflow with animals. On paper, this all sounds great. But here's where my concern comes in. How exactly do we police this? Unlike taking time off for a child or a medical appointment where documentation is often required, claiming sick leave for a pet opens the door to potential abuse. How does an employer verify that an employee's dog was sick or their cat needed surgery if someone just wants a day off and uses their pet as an excuse? How would we know? I'm not saying most New Yorkers would exploit this provision. Many of us are hardworking, honest people, but let's face it, this could create a gray area ripe for misuse. Employers could be left in the awkward position of questioning their employees' integrity, and that's not good for workplace morale. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the idea is worthy of consideration. I'm glad it was proposed. I'm glad that we're having this discussion. There's no question that pets are vital to our well-being, and giving pet owners more flexibility to care for their furry family members is a compassionate move. But is this the best way to achieve that? Or are we simply adding more complexity to an already strained sick leave system? And here's another angle. Should we really be focusing on this right now? New Yorkers are dealing with sky-high rents, an uptick in crime, and a variety of other challenges. While I love my pets as much as the next person, I can't help but feel that our lawmakers' time and energy might be better spent addressing the city's more pressing concerns. So while I appreciate the spirit of this proposal, I remain skeptical about how it would work in practice. Let's tread carefully here, because the last thing New York City needs is a law that's more bark than bite.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Tell Me What Happened is a show that asks, what would you do if you saw someone in danger?
I'm not making it out of this river. I'm never going to see my mom again. I'm never going to see my sister again.
Would you jump to their rescue? Or hope someone else does?
I couldn't see her head above the water. All I could see was her hair. If she was alive, she didn't have very long.
These are true stories of people that chose to help a stranger who was in trouble. Listen today to Tell Me What Happened, an original podcast by OnStar.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
It is never easy being a Met fan. The highs are exhilarating, but the lows, they can be crushing. And right now, we're staring down a moment that could define the next chapter of Mets history, Pete Alonso's future in Queens. This past weekend, during the Amazing Day Fan Fest, Mets president David Stearns got a taste of what this fan base feels about Alonso's potential departure. The boos were loud and clear.
The big elephant in the room is the fact that Pete Alonso is still a free agent. David, where do things stand?
Look, I think we all love Pete, and we've said that many times.
And can you blame us? Pete Alonso isn't just a power hitter or a four-time All-Star with 226 home runs. He's the heart of this team, a guy who lives and breathes Met baseball. You don't just replace that kind of player on the field or in the clubhouse. Now, let's be fair. Stearns is right about one thing at least. Baseball is a business. The Mets reportedly offered Alonso a 3-year, $70 million deal, which he declined. That's a lot of money, until you remember how much Alonso means to this franchise. But here's where I get frustrated. As fans, we don't want to hear about budgets or long-term strategies when it comes to our stars. We want to believe that the Mets, the team with Steve Cohen's deep pockets, can find a way to make it work. After all, this isn't the Wilpon era anymore. Let's roll the tape on what Steve Cohen himself said about Alonso over the weekend.
We've made a significant offer to Pete. What Davis says is correct. He's entitled to go out and explore his market, and that's what he's doing. Personally, this has been an exhausting conversation and negotiation. I mean, Soto was tough. This is worse. Okay?
It's clear Cohen values Alonso, but words don't keep stars in Queens. Contracts do. Now, I get it. It's easy for me to sit here and say, pay the man. It's not my $70 million or $200 million for that matter. But as a lifelong Met fan, I'll tell you this. Losing Alonso wouldn't just be a blow to the lineup. It'd be a gut punch to the fans. This franchise has had enough heartache, enough rebuilding, retooling, and resetting. Alonso has been a constant through it all. Letting him walk would feel like a betrayal of everything the Mets claim they're building towards. But let me also say this. I hope both sides can come together and find common ground. I hope Alonso wants to stay as much as we want him to.
Beam me up!
To be continued.